You're sitting in a crowded coffee shop, and the person across from you is laughing. They're leaning in, their eyes are bright, and they're telling you a story about their day. To anyone else looking at this room, it looks like a perfect date. The lighting is warm, the energy is high, and the connection seems effortless. But underneath the table, your hands are completely still. Your stomach is in a tight, heavy knot, because you realize that while they are giving you all of their attention, they are giving you absolutely none of their romance. You are sitting next to the person you are falling for, and you have never felt more completely alone. Why does this keep happening? Is it me? Did I misread every single sign? Or did something change when I wasn't looking? Wait. Read that last thought again. Because here is the counterintuitive truth about connection that nobody says out loud. The friend zone doesn't happen because you didn't try hard enough, and it doesn't mean you lack chemistry. It happens because the emotional safety shifted into platonic comfort before the romantic tension had a chance to anchor itself. You're not failing at attraction, man. This is not a sign that you are undesirable or broken. Every person who has ever pursued a deep connection has stood exactly where you're standing right now, looking at a door that feels completely locked. By the end of this, you'll know exactly which one of these subtle shifts is happening in your dynamic, and more importantly, why it's so hard to see it while you're inside it. Let's get into it. Most people believe that the friend zone is a sudden, harsh rejection, like a switch being flipped from yes to no. But the real psychological truth is much quieter. It's a slow, atmospheric drift where your relationship's emotional nervous system quietly reclassifies you. When someone places you in the friend category, their body stops registering you as a romantic mystery to solve and starts treating you as a predictable baseline of safety. It's not that the value disappears, it's that the romantic friction goes completely underground. If you try harder by forcing more attention or buying grander gifts without changing the underlying emotional tone, their nervous system will actually withdraw further because it feels like a demand rather than a natural pull. It's an anxious, avoidant dance playing out before a relationship has even officially started. And once you see this pattern, you'll start noticing it everywhere. Here's where it shows up first. This is the part no one talks about. It's what we call passive physical proximity. Most people think that if someone doesn't want to be near you, they'll create physical distance. But in the platonic safety zone, the exact opposite happens. They will sit incredibly close to you on a couch, their shoulder brushing yours, or they might even rest their feet on your lap while watching a movie. But here is what nobody explains. Look closer at the micro-expressions. There is zero physical awareness in their posture. Their muscles are completely relaxed, their breath is deep and even, and their eyes stay glued to the screen without a single lingering glance at you. Picture two different scenes. In a romantic dynamic, when your shoulders touch, there is a sudden, unspoken freeze, a sharp intake of breath, and a subtle shift where both people become hyper-aware of the skin-to-skin contact. In the friend zone, they adjust their blanket right over you, yawn, and ask what's next on the menu. Their internal monologue is quietly saying, "I am so glad I can completely turn off my guard around them." They feel entirely safe, but the romantic tension has been completely drained from the air. And when that tension dies, the romantic possibility goes with it. Which brings us to the next shift, and this is the one most people never figure out. It's the unconditional green light. Most couples or dating partners experience a natural, healthy level of self-consciousness in the early stages because they care deeply about how they are perceived. They fix their hair in the rearview mirror. They hesitate before sending a messy text, and they hold back certain unflattering stories until the bond is secure. But when you are firmly anchored as a friend, that filter completely evaporates. They will casually text you about their worst habits, invite you over while wearing stained sweatpants with messy hair, and openly discuss their digestive issues without a single second thought. This isn't a sign of deep, vulnerable romantic intimacy. This is what happens when someone stops viewing you as an audience. They want to impress and starts viewing you as an extension of their own living room. Something in their mind is quietly registering. They already know everything, so I don't have to try anymore. It's incredibly comfortable, honestly, but it's the exact comfort that kills desire. That's when you stop feeling like a romantic priority to pursue and start feeling like a comfortable habit to maintain. But it gets even deeper than that. Here is where it gets really interesting, and it's the emotional billboard. Most people think that if someone talks to you about their dating life, they are trying to make you jealous. They think it's a game. But the deeper psychological truth is far more clinical. If they are detailing their attraction to someone else, breaking down exactly what they find attractive about a new coworker, or asking you for advice on how to text another person, they aren't testing you. They are using your emotional availability to process their romantic feelings for someone else. Think about the contrast. Imagine them sitting cross-legged across from you, holding their phone out and saying, Does this text sound too desperate? Tell me what to write back. Their brain is genuinely thinking, you understand me so well, you're the perfect strategist for my love life. They are completely blind to the fact that their words are actively breaking your heart in real time because their nervous system does not view you as a competitor for their affection. It views you as a safe harbor. And once a person realizes they can cry on your shoulder about someone else, the wall between friend and partner becomes twice as thick. And this leads directly to a pattern that almost everyone misinterprets. Here is the one that catches everyone off guard, the hyper-encouraging cheerleader dynamic. Most people assume that if someone constantly builds you up and tells you how incredible you are, they must want you. But in a true romantic progression, there is always a layer of vulnerability and fear of rejection, which makes compliments highly focused, slightly charged, and occasionally hesitant. When someone views you strictly as a friend, their praise becomes incredibly loud, frequent, and generic. They will enthusiastically say things like, "You are such an amazing catch. Any girl would be so lucky to have you," or, "You're going to make someone so incredibly happy one day." Notice the phrasing, man. It is always about someone else, never them. Not louder appreciation, not more compliments, but a total absence of personal desire. Their internal voice is saying, "I want you to be happy, I just don't want to be the one responsible for making you happy." They are cheering for you from the sidelines of your life, but they have absolutely no intention of stepping onto the field with you. Which brings us to the final, most definitive signal of all. This is the one that changes everything, and it's the boundary of the unreturned gaze. In any romantic connection, eye contact is where the actual relationship is built. It's a lingering look across a room, a micro-expression of holding a gaze just 1 second longer than necessary, or a quiet focus on your lips when you speak. But when the platonic boundary is set, the eyes tell the whole story. They will look at you when you speak, but the moment the conversation pauses, their gaze snaps instantly to their phone, the window, or anyone else walking through the door. There is no lingering warmth, no curiosity about what you're thinking in the silence, and no emotional intensity behind their eyes. If you look at them intently, hoping they'll see the depth of what you're feeling, they will simply tilt their head, smile warmly, and ask, "What? Is there something on my face?" Their brain is completely closed to the romantic signal you are sending. That's the moment the realization hits you like ice water, when you stop trying to fix a connection that isn't broken, and realize it was never the kind of connection you thought it was. Let's go back to that crowded coffee shop for a second. The laughter is still happening, the warmth is still in the room, but the weight in your stomach feels different now. It feels clearer. Because you finally see the pattern for what it actually is. This isn't a checklist to make you feel rejected or inadequate, man. It's an invitation to shift your identity. This isn't about learning a communication trick to force someone to see you differently. This is about learning to value your own emotional energy enough to stop pouring it into a cup that was never meant to hold it. When you internalize this, you stop waiting for them to change their mind, and you start changing how you show up for yourself. You stop settling for a connection that requires you to hide your true intentions just to stay in the room. Real intimacy doesn't start when you finally convince the wrong person to love you. It starts when you decide to become someone who only stays where love is already being built, on purpose, by both people. If you want to know exactly what to do the moment you realize you're in this cycle, and how to gracefully change the dynamic without losing your dignity, that's the video I made right after this one. See you there.